In this video, I'm going to show you how you can save money and time using Replit and their AI features to quickly build endpoints that you can use and make. Now, you're going to save money by using less operations for complex scenarios and even the time it takes to architect those. So let me just jump into a hypothetical example. So you'll see here, let's say I have a Airtable base. I need to generate unique keys for each record. And maybe I want those keys to only be 6 characters long. Traditionally, using make, I might have something like this. I might create some JavaScript or a webhook in Airtable to send an ID over to make. And then I might generate a random ID. Then I'm going to see if that ID exists. If it does exist, I'm going to set the key. If it doesn't exist, I want to rerun this scenario. Super simple example. Don't cook me. There are much more complex examples or other use cases, but I wanted something that I could just throw in a video to show you. So what if instead of all of this, I simply had this? I pass the ID to something I build in Replit. So that is the core of what I'm going to be showing you today, is how to do this in Replit. So why would I do that? We can't run JavaScript in non-enterprise accounts for make. In enterprise accounts, you can run JavaScript. However, you can't import packages. So I couldn't actually use JavaScript to save those Airtable records. Also, sometimes nested data transformation functions and other make architectures get complex. Now, I've been a developer for many, many years, and I can tell you there are many times I wish I could just jump into code instead of figuring out how to build a simple architecture in make. It can get complex. Now, also, I wanted to point out there are other architectures that you can do this in. You can do this in Google Cloud Run, Google Cloud Functions, Heroku, and Lambda. I have solved this equation in all 4 of these other utilities and tools many, many times. I will say there's a beauty in Replit where it merges the development and the DevOps together. So it combines that code and infrastructure, and with AI now, you can make stuff quick and easy. Even if you know how to code natively, you can just do it faster, right? Deployment's a breeze. If you don't have DevOps experience, also Replit's really nice. So for me, I have a lot of scripts and functions and ways where I can build a GitHub, and I can automatically have actions, GitHub actions that deploy to like a Lambda function. But it still takes some time to set up new projects. So anyways, I am going to build this here from this. I'm going to do this natively. So I'm going to do it live. I haven't done this before, so bear with me as we kind of work through some things, but kind of show you like a real example of how I would accomplish this. So let's get started. All right. So here's the Replit website, replit.com. You can sign up for free. I have a core account. Let's just log in here. I am logged in here. So I'm going to click here to create a Replit. We're going to use a Flask Replit. This Flask is, I'm going to use Python instead of JavaScript today. I like Python better than JavaScript. Anyways, I'm going to use Flask, which is a library that allows you to make easy endpoints. So I'm going to click Flask, and I'm going to say, random Airtable save. I'm going to create this. It's automatically going to create a project for me. So if I click run right off the bat, instantly I have a function. and an endpoint. So I can click on Replit dev here. I can grab this dev URL. I can go right over to make, and I can just start testing. So I can go here. I can put this endpoint in, and I can run this endpoint. It's going to return hello from Flask. So right away, like there's no way I could get an endpoint or a project up and running in like 30 seconds, right? So I instantly have an endpoint. I have data that's coming back from that endpoint. So check this out. I'm going to use AI, and well, I need to use a project called Airtable. So I'm going to go to my console. No, I'm going to go to my shell, and I'm going to say pip install Airtable. And what I want to do is I'm going to go to AI here, and the Replit AI is actually pretty nice. I'm going to say update my code to create a function that returns a unique alphanumeric key that is 7 characters long. This code will check an Airtable table called project. This code will check an Airtable table called project and make sure that the unique ID generated has not been used before. Let's see what this does. Okay. All right. So it's generating this code for us here. Here's the summarize. So I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to insert this last example here. This looks right. I'm going to put in my Airtable API key, base ID, and project, OS environment. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go in secrets here. Airtable base ID. Airtable API key. Let me copy that API key over. And I'm going to look at this code here. So it says generate unique key, return generated unique key. So let's click run here and let's see what we got. So let's go back here. I'm gonna run this module and look at that. Generated unique key. Just like that. So I don't want to generate the unique key. I actually want to save it to the Airtable record that's being passed in. So this is going to have an ID. I want to pass in the ID to this function. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to stop this and I'm going to go to the shell, not the shell. I'm going to go to AI. I'm going to say, update the code. So the endpoint accepts an Airtable record ID. I want to save. I want to use that ID to save. My mind is slow. Apologies. I want to use that ID to save the generated key. I want to use that Airtable project record ID. I want to use that project. Use the generated ID and save. I don't know why this is hard for me. Project record. Let's see if it understands that. My mind's always trying to write something that a prompt can understand. So every now and then it takes me some time. Anyways, all right. So it updated this code. Let me copy this. Whoops. Delete this. I'm just going to reinsert and unique ID. So let's go to Airtable, add a field called record ID. I could also technically open it and just look in the okay. While I'm waiting for Airtable to take a million years, let's go and look at this code here because it looks like it has a generate ID, record ID post function. So I'm just gonna copy that. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna say I'm going to assume this is going to pass in something called ID, and I'm going to use this as a post. Okay, so let's go back here, record ID, copy this, and let's just run, well, let's make sure this is running. Let me go, sorry, I'm bouncing all around. I'm going to run this module, pass in that record ID, and see what happens. Okay, that wasn't good, but no problem. We're going to look at the console, which didn't seem to return anything wrong. That's weird. Let's try again. Interesting. Let me just make sure it's running. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to add another app route. I'm going to add that route. Test, def, test, return. Yes. All right. So we do know that it's hitting the endpoint, but we also know that it does not like the generate ID record ID function. Try accept exception as e message. Okay, so maybe I wasn't paying attention to the message. Apologies. Let's go to generate ID again. Let's look at the message. Looks like it is returning one. ID. We're going to run this module. We're going to pass in that. Whoops. Go back here. Pass in an ID. And it's going to try, and it's going to return an error. And it looks like, according to the logic, it's going to give us the message for that error. So let's see what it says. And it doesn't. It just says internal server error. So table update, unique ID. Okay, that's why. I think that's why. Let's try it again. That is the downfall of me, is I'm not even looking at the code. So let's try that again and see what that does for us. All right, so that was the problem. ID generated and saved successfully, unique ID. And we can see here, cool, we got a unique ID. So that is the function. We had a couple hiccups. I did generate this. It is a better idea now. You should probably know some code, but that was easy for me just to look and see what the issue was. For some reason, it did not appear to return the message unless I missed it. But anyways, still within 10 minutes, I was able to build this function. I'd argue that it would take just as long in make, and I would still be here instead of here. So just wanted to show you that. I've been super excited about using Replit and some of the projects that we're doing to get costs down and without sacrificing complexity and functions and features. So I think it's pretty cool. Let me just show you what deployment looks like. Let's say I wanted to deploy this. I could simply go to deploy up here, and then I have the option to deploy to production. I could be like, yeah, I want to use an always on VM. I could set up the deployment. It'll ask me what the configuration I want. I'm going to go for a cheap one, $6 a month. Apache web server. You literally click deploy and it'll deploy it for you. So it'll take 2 minutes maybe to deploy. Now, also, this is open to the world, so I could do some creative things like add an Airtable API, not an Airtable, I'm sorry, add like a API key to the endpoint. So when I'm here, so that no one else can use it but me, for instance, I could just add like a header of X API key with a random key and put that key in secrets or something like that, so that my endpoint stays protected. So you can do stuff like that as well. That's pretty simple. And you could even use the AI to generate that for you. so that your endpoint is protected, for instance. So let's see how long this promote takes. Okay. All right. So deployed right here. Let me just copy this URL and go here, paste it. And now let's go to this one, this record ID, run this module. Boom, lightning fast, right? Easily set that up. So anyways, that's how you do it. I hope you guys find this valuable. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.